Hey, shalom, shalom. It's following Yeshua. Welcome again to the Rock. Um, it's amazing what's happening in this world and the continual changes that are taking place. Oh, yeah, the garden beds. On this section of my garden, the conversion is going well. I think we have 14 beds done and probably another 10 to do. And then I have a whole other section to do. That one's going to be about 20 beds and a couple of smaller sections. And then preparing the ground because I'm not converting all of my gardens into raised beds, just certain sections where I'll be growing a majority of my greens and things like that. But I'll still be growing a lot of things in ground. Amaranth, if I decide to do corn, some of my squashes, a lot of my vine things, vine fruits, I'll still be growing in ground. Amaranth, potatoes, sweet potatoes, and then a lot of my herbs are still gonna be grown in tires or in ground. But anyways, that's what this video is about. If you are going to quote unquote church, I don't care if it's a Christian, westernized Christian church, or a church in the faith, an Israelite church. If your leadership is not telling you how to prepare, how to get ready for the things that are coming, they're letting you down. If they're not telling you to grow gardens, if they're not telling you the importance of coming out, if they're not letting you know that preparing your household for these times is more than just praying, if they're telling you to let go and let God, your ass is in trouble. If they're telling you, if they're not telling you ways to prepare, you're in trouble. If they're not telling you to store food, if they're not telling you to get a firearm, and if you can legally own one, and become proficient with that firearm. If they're not telling you to develop a training plan, develop a security plan for your household, if they're not telling you, sisters that are single and unmarried, not single because you're separated or you put yourself away, not that. I talked about that this last live stream. If you are actually a single woman, yes, a single woman, go get yourself a cover. Go get yourself a covering. Because if they're still telling you things like, and the sons are mine, send your tithes into the storehouse, if they're still telling you to keep paying them, the Most High, or God, or the Lord, is going to bountifully bless your storehouses, but yet you ain't got a storehouse, if they're still telling you to sow a seed offering, where do you see that in the Bible? And they're still telling you to sow your ox offering and your sheep offering and your pastoral vacation offering and a building fund offering. And if they're still telling you these things, you're probably in the wrong place. You're probably, likely, you are in the wrong place. You see, one of the jobs of the watchman was to sound the shofar when danger was coming, was to let the people know that the sword is coming, so that when the sword came, if they were not ready, their blood would be on their hands. But if the watchman does not tell the people that the sword is coming, when it is coming, then the blood will be on their own. All the innocent blood of the people that they didn't tell will be on their own heads, on their own hands. You will be guilty of literally leading people to the slaughter because you did not tell them to get ready. You see, instead of trying to collect the last offering, why don't they tell you something like, hey, we're going to suspend all offerings. Instead, I want you to take all that offering money and go and pack up your cabinets with canned goods. Pack up your cabinets with rice. Pack up your cabinets with beans. Get some flour. Go get yourself a mill and put back some wheat berries. Go, fellowship with somebody else that has some land and develop a relationship with them so that if bad things come, you could go to that person's house. Build yourself a garden. How many of these churches are holding gardening classes? Hey, we live in the inner city. Great. Okay, well, how about you hold a gardening class? How about you hold a class so that the people in your church can grow food as much as they can in their backyards and their balconies and their instead, it's the continual pay your tithe, pay your tithe, pay your offering, give me your money, give me your money, give me your money, give me your money, give me your money. They're not talking about the current events that are taking place. Instead, it's the same old bullshit from the pulpit. Listen to me, follow me, do what I say, do what I do, obey me, obey me, obey me, obey. See, man, we have to be concerned about our families right now. And that's the one great thing about brotherhood is that when you are around men that are also very concerned about their families, it's very easy to have fellowship. It's very easy to have that brotherhood because I'm concerned about mine, they're concerned about theirs, and then we are concerned about each other in the brotherhood. But when it's all about paying the church fund so that the church lights can stay on, meanwhile your lights are being turned off. Meanwhile, there's an energy crisis going on, and energy prices are going to be going out the roof. But they're still telling you that our electric bill went up $800. We're gonna need y'all to really dig deep for the Lord. You don't see that in the Bible, do you? In fact, the Bible, Yah's law, has a system already established, a welfare system already established. Brothers, leave the edges of your field ungleaned. Do not go through it a second time. The problem is that if I left the edges of my field ungleaned and didn't go through it a second time, there's nowhere for me to help. Because where are the people that are living this life? We live in a time where everybody wants a handout now. Nobody wants to put in the work for anything. And that edges of the field and not going through a second time was for the widows and the orphans and the stranger or the foreigner. It wasn't because you as a man didn't want to work, or it wasn't because you as a woman decided, well, I just want to do things my own way. I remember back in the day, during the time of our people in the Bible, women ran at the opportunity to be covered. They ran at the opportunity because they knew first the blessing that it was to be a wife, to be a mother, to have a man, a husband. They knew the blessing of that because it was a blessing. That you read the book and you see how Elijah helped that woman with her son. Elijah coming into her life was a blessing. Abigail sure ran when David came back after Nabal died. It was a blessing. It was a blessing to be with a righteous man. But today you got all this crap going on. You have church leaders who are solely concerned about you following them and you getting what you can get from them. Telling you whatever that they have to tell you to keep you in under their wings so that they could continue to reap the benefits from you. This system has always been here. It's always gone on. And even, how heartless you'd have to be to even in the times that you are seeing right now, knowing that the people in your church are likely suffering. There are reports coming out that people don't even have, it's like 40 or 50% of Americans, I'm not sure exactly which one it was, 50% of Americans don't have $400 in a bank account right now. I think 50% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. It might be more. I could be off. I think I'm really underestimating that number. Or living paycheck to paycheck. Over 50% literally have food insecurity, have food issues. And these churches are still telling you to pay them. These leaders are still telling you to send your money in, knowing how bad it is, knowing where things are going. Well, how about this? For every one of these churches that is continuing to collect your money, are they going to be the ones to feed you? when shit goes down? Are they going to be the ones to house you when the shit goes down? Or are they going to be turning your ass away? You got to look at the reality of it. Most of these churches, and not all of these churches, do not have the capability of feeding and housing all the people that are giving them money. And as these things continue to get worse, what's going to happen to you, man? If your family is stuck suffering, if your family is stuck not eating, but you gave all your money away, you know how much anger there's going to be in this country? When people realize all this money they gave away to church leaders and political organizations and this group and that group and this group and that group, and they didn't have the money to take care of their family. They didn't have the money to train their family adequately with firearms. They didn't have the money to come out of her. But your pastor sure drives a hell of a nice car, don't he? You can't come out of her. But yet he's driving a vehicle that, if that vehicle was sold, could have bought land for all those people that are part of his church. I digress. If that's where you are, I would highly suggest you come out of that. That's part of that her that you want to come out of. That's part of the her. Come out of her, my people. That's the her. At least that's a very significant part of the her. It's not just a system. It's not just Egypt. But a lot of you have to realize that Egypt has snuck its way into Israel. And a lot of these people are pseudo-Israelites. They're Egyptian Israelites. They're Babylonian Israelites. They're Roman Israelites. They're Grecian Israelites. They have not forsaken the ways of the groups and nations around them. In fact, they have embraced them and have benefited from these pyramid schemes, these pagan ways, and begathons, and e-begging. And what's going to happen when the shit goes down and you thought that you were going to be able to go there and you can't? Wouldn't it have been much better if you had just provided for your house the way the Bible says to, instead of hoping that someone else's benevolence, because you hope you gave enough, you hope you crossed that threshold of giving, when you could just simply be putting your own raised beds in, laying your head in your own home, on your own land, paid for? Maybe it's just me. Bless y'all. Shalom.